Today on What It's Like, this versus that, 50s style, two mid-50s luxury icons. 1956 Lincoln Premier versus 1956 Cadillac Series 62 Coupe de Ville. But before getting into all of it, I am Jay. Welcome to What It's Like. This channel, we feature the classics, vintage, some exotics, lots of orphan cars, and cars that are off the beaten path. If that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. If you dig this channel, please give us a like so more people can see this video in the future. Let's talk specs right out of the gate, starting with the Lincoln Premier. 223 inches long, 79.9 inches wide, 60 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 126 inches, 4,355 pounds. Price was $4,600, which was equivalent to you spending $50,087.74 in the year 2022. Now moving on to the Cadillac Coupe de Ville. 214.9 inches long, 80.1 inches wide, 64.1 inches tall, rides a wheelbase of 129 inches. It weighs 4,443 pounds. Price is $4,568, which is equivalent to you spending $49,846.28 in the year 2022. So just looking at the specs on paper, you're probably seeing these specs on a screen, probably sitting on your commode right now. Best place to watch, right? Me too, but not with my channel, but with yours. Anyway, the Lincoln is 8 inches longer than the Cadillac, but weighs less and isn't as wide or as tall as the Cadillac. The Cadillac weighs 88 pounds more than the Lincoln, but the Lincoln costs the equivalent of $241.46 more than the Cadillac. Before moving on to power plants, let's compare standard features because someone posted an interesting question in the comment section about the Lincoln Premier, about the lack of backup lights on the Premier. So I noticed that the Premier does not have them as standard equipment. And funny thing is Cadillac does. So this should get really interesting. Starting with the Lincoln, 4-way power seat, power steering, power windows, 12-volt electric system, automatic transmission was a 3-speed, power brakes. Some sources said that it was an option and other sources said that it was optional. In the original review, I said it was optional, but I went back through and found other sources saying that it was standard equipment on the Premier. In the comment section below, if you know the correct answer. 307 rear end gear. Moving on to the Cadillac Coupe de Ville, power brakes, power steering, 4-speed, hydromatic, automatic, power windows, backup lights, 307 rear end gear, 12-volt electric system. So just keep in mind that the Lincoln costs just a wee bit more. Both have power windows, power steering, power brakes. The Lincoln offers 4-way power seat, whereas Cadillac doesn't offer the power seat as standard. They do have 2 power seat options. One was a 2-way power seat. The other one was a 6-way power seat. But the Cadillac has reverse lights as standard. It's weird, by 1956, reverse lights on the Lincoln was an option. Both use the 307 rear end gear, both have 12-volt electrics. Lincoln has a 3-speed automatic where Cadillac has a 4-speed automatic. Moving on to engines. Starting with the Lincoln Premier, 368 cubic inch displacement V8, 6 liters. It makes 275 horsepower. It's good for 401 foot-pounds of torque. Compression is 9-to-1. Average fuel economy is 10.5 miles per gallon. 0 to 60 is 9.8 seconds. And a theoretical top speed of 115 miles per hour. Moving to the Cadillac Coupe de Ville, 365 cubic inch displacement V8, 6 liters. 285 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque. Compression is 9.75-to-1. Average fuel economy is the same, 10.5 miles per gallon. 0 to 60 is 11.5 seconds, with a theoretical top speed of 112 miles per hour. The takeaways from that is the Lincoln is faster on paper, and these cars aren't about speed, but they get the same gas mileage. And the Lincoln is way faster. I mean, 0 to 60 is like a couple seconds, like 2 seconds faster. That's crazy. And it has a higher top speed, even though it doesn't make as much power. It's 10 horsepower down on the Cadillac. The Cadillac's down 1 foot-pound of torque towards the Lincoln's. And compression is higher in the Cadillac engine. So how does the saying go? Horsepower sells cars, torque wins races. Yes, it's only 1 foot-pound difference, but That's crazy that there's that much difference, and these cars are pretty much equal, stacked, 6 liter to 6 liter. The Lincoln's is only 3 cubic inches bigger than the Cadillac engine. The Cadillac makes more horsepower, but is 2 seconds slower. Maybe that has to do with the transmission, because the hydromatic's really weird in a sense that first gear only goes up to about 5 miles an hour, and then it shifts to second, so it has to shift more times. Is that why it's slower? In the comment section below, what are your thoughts? Let's talk front end design for these two cars. The Lincoln to me looks like it could be it looks like it could be a number of different cars. Like I see Plymouth Savoy, I see Packard Caribbean in the styling aspect. Coming over here to the Cadillac, you can't really mistake it for anything other than a Cadillac. It just looks like a Cadillac in every aspect of it, especially in the front. So look at these big torpedoes coming off the front of it. Just look how massive those are. Like, here's my hand for reference. They're huge. It's three-dimensional. Look at this thing. It looks like it's got wings. It almost looks like an angel with wings. Giant V from this angle. Coming down here, you could definitely tell it's a knight in shining armor. It's all gold plated. It's very, very interesting. Let's hood ornaments. Look at this flying lady on the Cadillac. It's a beautiful design from every angle. It almost looks like a trident, like Poseidon's trident from this angle. Just check out this line here. It's almost a crease, because this part of metal sits back in behind this part of metal, and it comes back, goes all the way to the back and out. Such an elegant, classy design. Once you get to the back here, there's all kinds of stuff going on. These taillights look very Packard to me. They almost look like the cathedral taillights that are seen on the Packard Caribbean. This is where the exhaust used to come out. Just check out this bumper. It is not straight on. It's actually angled upwards. Nice Lincoln badge there, all textured. Same thing with this side. Just get a look at how this is. This bumper angles upwards. It's not straight out like this. See how this exhaust port would be? This is straight. The bumper is almost up. It's up at an angle. I want to show you this chrome bit here. It comes all the way around. It's still going. Comes back here just past the driver's side door, and then it comes up and it stops right there. There's all kinds of chrome on this car. It's a total contrast of the Lincoln Premier, which doesn't have hardly any chrome on the outside. But just check out all this. Like, look at all this weather stuff. Like, this is where air gets sucked into and can be distributed through the ventilation system. All of the chrome around the windshield. Even here, like, this is just a little tiny trim piece, but it's real elegant, decorative, and it just goes from window to window. Another chrome piece here. This car's got fender skirts as well, but just check out how this comes out. This car, just like the Lincoln, the exhaust gets ported through the bumpers. That must have been a styling fad. Let's talk rear end design real quick. So the Cadillac has these fins that kind of bump upwards. This tail end design doesn't do anything, but the one over here, this one, if you push this button, this pops up, and that is where the gas goes. It's very interesting. Super cool. Try to find, have your friend drive this car to the gas. Hey, say, hey Frank, hey Ed, or hey whoever, go and take this to the gas station and go get me some gas. And see if they can figure it out. Styling looks like on the Lincoln. It's cleaner, in my opinion. It's more conservative, but it has some tricky stuff going on back here too. Like, I absolutely love these fins. The gas filler on this car is behind the license plate. Another cool feature of the Lincoln is where you put the key to get in the trunk. This looks like a knight in shining armor. These are his shoulder pads. This is his breastplate. This is his helmet. And it lifts up to reveal the keyhole. I think that's awesome. I think it's a little bit out of place on a Lincoln though. If it was on a DeSoto, it would make sense, but it's on a Lincoln. So it's very interesting. So just want to show you this door again. So the Lincoln door opens all the way 90 degrees. Coming over here to the Cadillac, the Cadillac door only opens to there. It opens a little bit wider than that, but that's as far as it will stay open. It will open to this point. It's not full 90 degrees like the Lincoln, but it stays open there. So point of entry is smaller on the Cadillac. Coming back over here to the Lincoln, just look at how wide that opens. Coming up to this door panel, just check out all the materials used. At the top here, different type of material. Here, this feels like a vinyl material. Same with the armrest itself. It could be vinyl, it could be leather. It's a little bit padded right here. This is the armrest, but notice it protrudes outward, very similar to a Chrysler armrest here. Door handle to pull the door shut. This is the door lock to lock the door. Over here, this is the door handle to get out. Down here, it's got this nice trim piece at the bottom. There is a light right above the door handle, so you can see the door handle at night to get out, which is a really nice feature. This car is a Lincoln, but does not have a crank vent window. Instead, you push this button here, turn and then it opens like that. Check out the placement of the driver's side mirror. It's all the way up here on the door. Coming up to the door panel itself, this has been slightly customized, so I don't know how much of this was factory and how much of this is customized. But this feels like a felt material up here. Over here, check out the armrest. It protrudes much like a Chrysler armrest does. Door handle to pull the door shut. This is the door handle to get out. This has vent windows. You gotta make sure they're unlocked. So this is unlocked, this is locked. Notice it has this little tiny stopper for the lock, but it has a crank so that you can crank the vent windows open. The big windows are electric. This right here controls the mirror, so it's sort of like a joystick, but it's not. Getting inside. See, I never had an issue with this. I always just kind of got in and slid over. Some people said that they had issues hitting their knee on this part, but I've never had an issue with that. With the door all the way over there, you really have to lean out to pull the door shut. That's what the door sounds like as it's shutting. That's what the door sounds like when you shut it. Just take a look over the hood. Look how beautiful that looks. There's so much space in this interior that it is unreal. It almost doesn't even feel like there's a top on this car. Look at how much space there is. That's probably 6 inches of space. Here's what first person would look like if you were driving this car. Here's what under the steering wheel looks like. Lots of room underneath the steering wheel. Here's what over the hood impression looks like. Here's what first person looks like. There is tons of space underneath the steering wheel. This is for the ultronic eye, which if you have high beams or any type of light coming towards this, it has a sensor inside of it. If your high beams are on, the high beams will automatically dim. Up above, there's sun visors. There are no courtesy mirrors on this sun visor. Over here, there's another sun visor. No courtesy mirrors on that one either. Rear view mirror here. Notice all the chrome trim. I mean, this almost looks like it could be was a convertible top, but it wasn't a convertible top. It's just all chromed out. Notice the rails up here, all chromed out. Nice light there in the center. More chrome. There's chrome everywhere in the inside, and it feels like you're in a piece of jewelry, really. Up here, there are sun visors. No courtesy mirrors. Over here, same thing. No courtesy mirrors, but nice sun visors nonetheless. This one has a daytime, nighttime mirror. Just by flipping the switch. That has to be super rare. This is 1956. This is what I look like in the driver's seat. There's adequate headroom. Just chrome everywhere. So up here, it's got the fake convertible top ribs. There is a light in the center on both the driver's side as well as the passenger side. On to the glove box test. There is our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is our glove box over here. I'm not sure if it's gonna fit, but we're gonna try. And if the camera does not fit in the glove box, does that mean it's a bad car? No, I just like showing this because a lot of times these glove boxes look so small and actually they're absolutely huge. Yeah, it's not gonna fit. So does not fit in the glove box. All right, on to the glove box test. Here is our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. And it looks like this one has an aftermarket stereo put in it, so we can't do the glove box test. I'm sure it would fit in there though, because I've done other cars. Getting into the rear seat, all you have to do is flip this seat forward. There's no locks on the back, which is great. Getting in the rear seat, push the seat forward there. That seat folds a whole lot more forward than the Lincoln seat does. It's how much space you have to get back there. You could have more space if you move the seat up. I'm not going to move the seat. I'm just going to get into it the way it is. Right, sitting in the back seat of the 56 Lincoln Premier. This is quite a comfortable spot to be. It's not as comfortable as the front seat, I will say, and the seating position, now sitting back here for more than 2 seconds, is kind of interesting. So just check out the seat profile of this seat. As you can see, it is very interesting. Your butt sinks back here and your knees are pointed upward, and the back of the seat is very, very straight. As a result, this is what I look like. I have enough knee room to go back and forth with my fingers like that. Same for this side, but my knees are almost as high as the top of the seat. That's how far away they are from the top of the seat because of the whole seat profile thing. There are some creature comforts back here. We got a nice center armrest here. A rope. This is a rope for you to hold on to, or if you have a lap blanket, you could put the lap blanket there. So on both sides. Over here, there is an ashtray. That's what that is. There's another ashtray over here. Cigarette lighter and ashtray combination inside. Nice armrest. This armrest is double the size of the armrest up in the front. Just look at how big and comfortable your arm could be sitting there. But just check out how much space you have to get in the back. All right, sitting in the rear of the 56 Cadillac, it feels like there's just about as much headroom in the back as there was the front. The seat is relatively upright. The bottom of the seat is a lot like the Lincoln seat, but it's not nearly as severe in this car as it is in the Lincoln. Your bottom is way back here, and then that would cause your knees and legs to shoot upwards. It's not as uncomfortable as it was in the Lincoln, but it is noticeable. It's very upright back here. This one does have an armrest in the middle, and it works like that. There's a better look at the seat profile. You can definitely tell, like, look at how much angle that is for the rear. And look at how upright it is in the back versus over here at on the Cadillac. It's not nearly as bad. Coat hooks, and it's in the shape of a triangle. There is the interior light up here, as well as an interior light over here, and another coat hook. Here is what the outside view looks like from the rear seat, and you got a nice big rear shelf back here, and that's how wide it is. It's pretty wide. Wrap around rear windshield so you can see everything. This is what the back to front view looks like. The rear view looks like. Nice wide shelf. This shelf back here isn't nearly as wide as the Lincoln shelf, but it's wide nonetheless. And look at those fins back there. Check out this. This is how the windows operate. So that's how the rear windows go up. And that's how they go down. Ashtray is located right there. And that is what the cigarette lighter looks like whenever it's working. This car has electric windows, and this is how it would operate. This window, this switch right here, operates the rear window in the back. Look at how cool that is. So that's what it looks like with the key inserted into it. Just take a look at how massive this trunk is. It's absolutely massive. It's bigger than any Lincoln trunk that I have videoed so far and or saw. Bumper jack off to the side here, full size bias ply spare. This trunk is so huge that I can lay down inside here, and it goes up underneath the rear shelf. So that's where my head is. My head is underneath the rear shelf back here, and I can move around. So I'm still laying down back here. It's absolutely massive. This is the biggest trunk I've ever been in. This is insane. Coming back to the trunk section back here, just notice how big this trunk section is. You got a fire extinguisher, which is a great idea if you have a classic car, because you never know when you might need one. Beautiful full-size radial spare, big thick white wall. This one's got an aftermarket stereo system in the back. Coming to the under the hood section, right here is where the hood release is. I lied, that is a door into where the hood release is. And then you pick up on it. Super heavy hood. This is what the engine looks like. Here's a fuel filter there. It's got power steering, as well as, it looks like it's got power brakes, but that is the funkiest power brake system I've ever seen. Just check out all the belts. It's actually got three different belts. Two belts are over here, and then there's another belt over here driving the power steering pump. A massive water pump. Look at how big the housing is in the front of that. Massive air cleaner on top.
It's not the original intake, but it's got an Eldorado intake. Now I see a lot of chrome.
Man, that engine's gorgeous. I love the
Yeah,
I love the intakes.
Yeah. But it's the original 365. It's been rebuilt, and when they rebuilt it, they did the extra work to it. California.
Looks like it's an updated alternator.
Yeah, alternator, 2 batteries for there. Two batteries.
Batteries down inside there.
The heaters have been removed. The heater cores, those 2 diamond plates, that's where the heaters would have been. They took them all out.
It's got air horns. Power steering fluid reservoir. That's pretty cool. It sits up higher than everything else just about. Brake master cylinder booster right there. It's mounted there instead of on the firewall. So that's pretty interesting. Let's talk production numbers and pricing averages. The Lincoln Premier 2-door hardtop, they only made 19,619 units versus the Cadillac's 25,086 units. Pricing averages. So according to Haggerty, for a number 3 condition car, $19,700 is what you should pay for the Lincoln. And on the Coupe de Ville side, $38,500 for a condition 3 car. What is a condition 3 car? It runs and drives good, and it has flaws, but the flaws aren't noticeable to any passerbyers. And like I said, this is just a baseline number. If you're looking at getting one of these, that is the roundabout price for a decent one. As we conclude, the biggest takeaways: the Lincoln has a bigger trunk and is a bit more quirky with the whole night aspect, hood ornament. It's on the back too. It's weird because it looks like it should be more at home on a DeSoto rather than a Lincoln, but it's really cool nonetheless. I like the Cadillac gauge cluster over the Lincoln gauge cluster, but I like the Lincoln styling over the Cadillac styling, but honestly, you can't go wrong with either. Moving on to Name That Tune. First person to give me the correct name of the band, as well as song title correctly, will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. I really appreciate all of the support. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. And until next time,
Toodaloo!